Another human timeline revealed by ancient texts and maps, Graham Hancock shatters modern history, because this, of course, is evidence. Graham Hancock is one of the few great pioneers in alternative history. He's a journalist, and he just puts all this evidence together. Formerly working as a journalist for the big media companies, he set off on a journey to discover the real truth of human origins. His research is startling and quite possibly erases the old narrative of history. Masi Ghani reports, there's evidence that the timeline of civilization extends much farther back than just 10,000 years ago. The famous ancient monument of Egypt, the Great Sphinx, stands today showing signs of erosion as if water had been running through its walls for many years. Of course, this means that there had to have been long periods of rainfall in the Sahara Desert at the time it was built, as water must have been touching it long enough to cause all this erosion seen on the Sphinx. There's been almost no rain in the desert for the past 5,000 years. Was the Sphinx perhaps built at a much earlier time, like right after the Ice Age when the climate was drastically different? We find other evidence of older civilizations across the world. For example, in western coast of Turkey, Göbekli Tepe, the monument in Turkey which dates back to approximately 11,000 to 12,000 years ago. And when we hear that date, we remind ourselves of the comet impact, the Younger Dryas comet, that split into 18 pieces, most of them going into the area of the Northern Hemisphere over North America. Kindly support my Patreon account since YouTube has again demonetized my YouTube channel. The daily posts are 5 videos daily, and they are totally different from what I have on my YouTube channel. Thank you so much for your support and that you find all my content so interesting. You'll find the Patreon account details in the description box below. Of course, that is considered an extinction level event. The megafauna and flora of North America, even the Clovis culture, disappeared because of that. And also in Göbekli Tepe, structures showing they're consisting of carefully engineered stone tablets and carvings of animals such as lions and gazelles that lived nowhere near Turkey at the time. Well, perhaps they were also done away with. Now, findings of the structure certainly suggest that humans were living in a much more advanced society than previously thought. Previously thought meaning that humans were still cave dwellers or early agricultural settlers or remote numbers of people due to the higher population and skill knowledge set required to create it, creating Göbekli Tepe. And as for where the ancient people came from with the idea to carve these animals out, they have no idea. So it's shocking. If we keep looking, we'll find other traces of civilizations around the world that predate the oldest known remains, like the Dwarka in India, the 12,000-year-old tunnel network running from Scotland over to Turkey, and more. So who built all these underground networks running throughout the continent of Europe? From Scotland to Turkey, can you imagine? These civilizations even stood out for their cultural advancement. Most remarkable is the Piri Reis map. It was put together by a cartographer in 1513 that accurately depicts the world and its continents connected, including the continent of Antarctica. Antarctica is actually shown as a habitable place once housed by humans. The level of geography and math, not seen until at least the 1800s, that it took to accurately display a map like that is far ahead of its time. The presence of longitudes, the equator, and even spots of Antarctica that only satellites have been able to pick up remain inexplicable. Could this be Atlantis? These are the, quote, fingerprints of the gods, end quote, as Graham Hancock would put it. But where are these fingerprints sourced from? Graham Hancock contends that Antarctica was once Atlantis. That's what his theory is. He believes that the entire continent was once booming with life until natural disasters changed the climate to the point that sea levels rose and temperatures dropped. Was there really an advanced civilization living on Earth at one time that we have not heard of? If there was, could it have been more advanced than ours? Graham Hancock's accumulated evidence certainly creates a strong case for this. He published his books Underworld, The Mysterious Origins of Civilization, Fingerprints of the Gods, and his newest is Magician of the Gods. And they go into farther detail about this fascinating alternative history. Plato said, "This power came forth of the Atlantic Ocean, for in those days the Atlantic was navigable." So it could be that we still have a lot to learn about our ancient history. We know that we've had a lot of weather changes, geologic changes, and we're still learning. This is by Humans Are Free on Alexander Light. Please leave your comments and thank you for your support.